Hello, this is Victor. This is Violet.
Hello.
And I don't matter because I'm the mum.
My name's Joanne Woodley. I'm 45. I'm married. I'm a full-time housewife and mum. I've got 2 children. I've got Ellis, who is 4, and I've got Scarlett, who is 1 in 2 weeks.
One fish. I run my own business, and my husband has 2 separate businesses, so we're very busy. And I have a 2-year-old son called William.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
I'm Annette Sager. I am a stay-at-home mum. My husband runs his own business, and I have a little boy called Noah, who is 2.
And something in your tummy.
And 1 on the way.
So I'm Natalie, and I've got 1 little boy called Adam, who we adopted when he was 15 months, and now he's 3 and a month.
I'm Becky.
I'm Georgia.
Okay, I'm Rachel and this is Erin. I'm 30 and she's 4 months old and I'm a baker.
Okay, so what? I suppose my first questions on here about pregnancy and childbirth. You didn't go through that.
No, we kind of went through a bureaucratic gestation period of about 9 months where we went through this whole adoption process. So it starts off with these 4 days that you have to attend, and you attend with about 6 other couples.
Yeah.
And 2 social workers make you do group work and role play. And at the end of it, you have what can only loosely be termed an assessment. And as part of the assessment, we had 4 role plays.
Right.
One, to give you an idea of what the role plays were like, it was, one was I had to coax a 60-year-old man with a moustache who was pretending to be a 6-year-old child who tried to strangle a 3-foot-high tall Bob the Builder toy from underneath a table, whilst negotiating with another social worker who was pretending to be his mother, who was saying all adoptive children are awful. So I just threw her out, told her to take her Bob the Builder toy with her, and then tried to negotiate with this 60-year-old man under a table. It was really surreal and has in no way prepared me for parenthood.
I was very excited. It was a bit weird, it was a strange feeling because you think you want something and then the minute it happens you're like, oh, I can't go back from that. That's kind of happened.
But pregnancy, I wouldn't go through it again. Just because I don't feel like I need to now I've got these 2.
Yeah.
But sometimes I hated it. Sometimes I thought actually it's not that bad. But I can't say that I loved it.
I was absolutely the most excited person on the planet about getting pregnant. I'd always wanted to be pregnant. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
It was fine. It was a bit lonely. Everybody was in college and going out and stuff, and I just stayed at home.
Stressed the whole time. From day 1, stressed.
I quite liked being pregnant, it was quite nice, but the first sort of, I'd say 20 weeks when I was really sick, I was sick whilst I was driving, I was sick in multi-storey car parks, and the announcement, you know how they have somebody on camera?
Yeah.
I was once like walking, I'd been to Nando's after work, and I was in this multi-storey car park, and I was like, and the way it happened, it just kind of threw up on the floor, and I heard this, "Are you all right, love?" And I was like, "What was that?"
The voice of God.
And I was like, "Yeah." And I got in the car, drove off. I was like, "Oh my God."
Oh my God, so you were sick everywhere.
Everywhere. It was hilarious, to be honest. Once in a coin bag in the car, because it was all there was. I was like,
Bit of a Wayne's World moment.
sorry, it is gross, but it's hilarious.
But it wasn't really what I expected.
No.
I thought it'd be this lovely, amazing...
Have
time.
a glow.
Yeah, definitely
No,
didn't have a glow.
Didn't have a glow. Had spots.
Yeah, I have a lot of spots.
So why do you think that it's going to be wonderful?
Because I think that's what you're led to believe.
By who?
Television.
Everybody.
You look at anything to do with stretch mark cream, to do with breastfeeding, milk, anything like that, and you look at all the pregnant women on them, and tinily skinny, they've got these lovely little perfect bumps, they've not got swollen ankles, and they sit there and they've got this perfect child that's now breastfeeding,
well behaved,
or a toddler in the corner that just sits.
You have that serene look on their
Exactly.
For us, the first time was a really easy process. We just did it and it worked and everything worked out great and it was happy.
So what happened the second time? You got 2. The second time, you decided you wanted to have another one as soon as you had it?
Yeah, so 6 months later I got pregnant naturally, but then lost the baby at 10 weeks, which was horrific because I'd only ever had this positive experience.
Yeah.
So for me, it was always about getting pregnant. So once I'd got pregnant, I didn't contemplate anything else. So once I got pregnant naturally, I didn't think about anything else. So when I had a miscarriage, it was like this massive shock. I would never expected it to happen.
But yeah, the birth, again, wouldn't choose to go through it if I could. Well, I don't intend on going through it again.
It was a bit up in the air. I was induced 11 days after my due date. And then I had an epidural, so I couldn't walk after I had her. But it seemed to be fine. You don't really think about how it's going to affect you because you've never had anything other.
Yeah, so you didn't have any expectations of what childbirth would be like, and you just kind of
just went with it,
and it was just did kind of.
I think young people they adapt to everything.
So great pregnancy. What about childbirth? How was that?
So I didn't have a plan as long as the baby came out. That was my plan. But nothing prepared me for that pain.
No.
It was just ridiculous. I don't know why we're doing it again, really.
So I went in to the MLU because the MLU is the midwifery-led unit. It's the one where there's very little pain relief options. It's all very zen. There's bean bags and pools, and I was blissfully naive and thought, I'm going to go and bite down on a piece of wood and get on with it. I took one step in there, saw there wasn't a bed, and went to Kieran, I'm not having a baby in here. I'm not having a baby in here.
I lost control.
Yeah.
And I was really disappointed in myself. Because I have normally in general life a high pain threshold, what I would think.
And you're a big control freak.
And I'm a massive control freak.
By this point, I was knackered. It had been Friday night. It was now Monday night. Yeah. And I was like, I'm knackered. Anyway, I went down to delivery suite by this point when a nice man with a lovely soft Scottish accent came in and said, I need to talk to you about epidurals. Yes, please. Little miss never having anything went, epidural, please. Anything you can give me, please. Gas and air, please. All of it.
It was as horrific as I thought it was going to be, the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the second time, when I had her, I was scared.
Right.
I was really scared of giving birth the second time when it got to it, regardless of the fact that I didn't know what was going to happen after. But I knew the second time. I think the first time, you know it's going to hurt, but you have no idea what it's going to be like. But the second time, you actually do know what it's going to be like. Yeah. And I was a wuss. I was a complete wuss. I was like, I kept saying I wanted to change my mind. I didn't want to do it. I changed my mind. I wouldn't let go of the gas and air. I was like Lee was fighting it out of my hands at one point because I was going off my head.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think I could do it again.
She was going in meconium when she came out, so I got handed a pooey baby.
Nice one, Erin.
You were actually covered in poo. And because I'd had all these drugs in me, I started convulsing. And you have that beautiful moment where they're placed on your hot spot on your chest for some skin-to-skin time. And I'm like this. While they're stitching me up down there. And I've got this baby covered in poo, and I'm shaking, and I'm crying, and I've got this baby bouncing on my chest. I just went, can you take her off me? And I thought, am I supposed to? I took a good 5 minutes before I went, please take her off me. I can't do this. So they gave it, and Kieran whipped his shirt off in the middle of the theatre, put her on him, and had her on him. And I was like, I thought this is the sign of things to come, isn't it? I'm not cut out for this whilst I'm convulsing.
Siobhan and I had similar feelings when the babies were born. Like a lot of people say, oh, you get given this baby and you're just overwhelmed by love and it's just amazing.
Didn't happen.
And thankfully, my mum had said to me, "Oh, I didn't get that feeling."
And you said to
And
me,
I told Siobhan.
which was really good advice.
And they handed me, they handed me Noah, and I didn't think, "Oh my God, I'm amazed."
Yeah, like, I'm tired.
All I thought was, "Please, can somebody take this baby off me? I want to go to sleep." That's what I thought.
About the birth then, was it a natural birth?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gas and air.
Wow.
Because I was so worried about the after effects of, because I wanted to breastfeed, I was so paranoid about it, about having Pasadena, then not being able to get any milk out and all this kind of stuff. It turns out that that was all kind of a waste of time me worrying about, because my milk didn't come in for 6 days, and for those 6 days it was horrendous.
Okay, so pregnancy, childbirth. What about when the child, when Ellis arrived, who became a mum for the first time? Those few bits.
I remember he came at 7 o'clock at night and I went to sleep about, I don't know, 10 or 11 because I had him at home, so I was just at home. And I remember at 3 o'clock in the morning him waking up crying and just sitting up in bed and thinking, oh my God, what do I do? And just being so tired and thinking, no, I just want to sleep. I don't want to get up and deal with this. It was a massive shock.
But no, I've never been so tired in my entire life as the first probably 6 months that we had him. And now I just completely accept that I'll be tired all the time and have some sort of dull headache.
I was kind of just like a robot, I think. It was just... and when you're young and you're in a relationship that you don't really know whether's going to work out or anything like that, you kind of concentrate on that. So it was kind of... Georgia was there. I looked after her, played with her, loved her to pieces, but you don't think about anything else. You take it every day as it comes, so you don't really think about the future and how much you can really provide for them and stuff like that.
How were those first few weeks?
The first, to be honest, it hit me really, really hard. I've always been quite independent and quite a together person, and I thought, again, naive, thought, oh no, I'll be fine, I'll just crack on with it, I'll be alright. But I had been forewarned about the hormones thing by my sister-in-law, and I thought, oh right, so I'll get a bit of a hormone crash maybe 3 days in. It was hell on earth.
So yeah, it was very hard work, because you'd settle one and then the other one would go off. And like for the first week, they wouldn't sleep on anyone but us. So we were just camped out in here, just watching Homes Under the Hammer, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, and just trying to stay alive and eating jam on toast maybe once every 3 days.
It's not what you expect. Like Siobhan said before, every magazine you read, everything you see on TV, this amazing little tiny baby that's a bundle of joy.
Yeah.
And it isn't. It's a bundle of tears and poo.
Yeah.
And feeding.
Quote! Yeah, a bundle of joy. It's a bundle of tears and poo.
that is your head.
Got people who'll give you the horror stories of birth. They don't. No one ever talks about that bit. That. I say 2 weeks, but that's the 2 weeks where you then come around a bit. But first 6 weeks, your baby doesn't really do anything back. They cry. It's like eat, sleep, poop, repeat, eat, sleep. You're just constantly feeding them and changing them, and you're scared to go out anywhere because you've got this fragile little thing. I remember taking her to Morrison's and crying while I hadn't even got out the veg aisle. It was horrible. It was awful. I can't even think of another way to put it. There was no redeeming thing about it.
It's you can't describe to someone what it's like suddenly being presented with a child. And I remember, I said to you before, I remember speaking to my mum on the phone, and I'd pushed him around for hours and hours and hours in his pushchair, hoping that he'd go to sleep, but he was stubbornly refusing to. And he was super, super tired, so I couldn't do anything with him. And I was just going to my mum, he's just with me all the time. Like, I go to the toilet and he's there. And like, I had to have a bath with him. It's just this utter shock, and I was just like, yeah, this is parenthood. And everyone had tried to tell me, and everyone had sort of said to me, this is what happens, this is what you do. And you can't describe to someone, you can't say to them how much it changes your life. That I used to be like, going to concerts and festivals and the theatre all the time and having this active social life. And I still have an active social life, but it's pretty much Adam's social life that I piggyback onto. So we go for play dates and things like that, but it's very much, it's always child orientated. If you go on a family holiday, if you go on a holiday with children, it's a holiday for children.
It was just this shock to the system that I think it's the reality kicks in, and all of a sudden you've only ever really had yourself to worry about.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've got this child that's just demanding of you when you're like most sort of tired because you've gone through labour, you've gone through pregnancy, you've gone through labour, and then the baby doesn't care that you've only had 4 hours sleep. It's like, no, I need feeding now.
Yeah.
And it was just that, but I just want to sleep.
I have it pretty good with all my children being to the same dad. They all go off, and then I can. I think that was a clever thing. And then they all go off at the same time, so I can have a breakdown.
So being separated from your partner. I mean, I sometimes think about.
I feel so sorry.
I'm like, oh, would it be worth getting divorced just for like?
It might be.
Every other weekend to have myself.
It might be.
That might be nice. I mean, I really love him, but you know, I don't know whether that'd be work out better.
I always look at people when they're together and I go, I get to go out.
Because I thought, you know, I'm doing a doctorate at the same time, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have this year off. I can basically finish it, basically just get it done. And even though Adam had quite big naps in the days, in the early days, he had like a couple of hours most days, I'd just tidy the house, or I'd sit and I'd watch something completely crap on TV. I watched the whole of How I Met Your Mother while I was off on adoption leave. And I'm like one of these people who's a bit of a fascist about crap telly. And I'm like, I watched rewatched the whole of Ugly Betty and My So-Called Life and all of these box sets, because all I could do when he went to sleep was just sit and zone out and just think, oh my God, the wall of sound has stopped.
Yeah. And then because of how much it knocked me for it, I'd got this whole newfound respect for people that I'd never massively respected before. Yeah. It was weird. It was like people who I've always thought were a bit wet or a bit, oh God, she's a bit dull, isn't she? Or, oh, why is she always going on about a baby? Oh, it gets really boring. And I'm like, well, there's nothing else to talk about. Your whole break, I couldn't even watch. I'm a big TV fan. I couldn't even catch up on Sherlock. The only thing I could watch that I could enjoy was Neighbours and You've Been Framed. I could watch You've Been Framed and come on and start laughing. I've never found that funny before.
I always thought I was rushed off my feet. I was like, I do a full-time job and I'm doing a doctorate. I'm really, really busy. No. No. I had hours of time that I squandered on meaningless stuff. And if I had it all again, I'd spend every waking moment doing something useful and something entirely like for myself or with Elspeth or with friends. But you can't tell that to someone when they're like thinking, I want children too. And you're like, okay, well, get lots of sleep. And when you're not sleeping, do stuff.
What advice would you give to someone who's having a baby now? What would be the most...
I would say what my mum said to me. Yeah. And she just said that you will never hurt your baby.
Okay.
So don't worry.
So kind of trust your instincts.
Yeah, trust your instincts. Don't read the book so much. And your natural instincts will kick in and you won't ever hurt it. Yeah. Enjoy it.
Don't look into too many things. Don't ask too many questions. You're laughing. Don't listen to any professionals. No, it's true. No, but you get different. Like, I've taken William with a sickness book and I get told, don't give him any milk, don't give him any dairy, just give him water. Then I go to someone else, a different doctor.
Carry on with the milk.
You've got to give him milk. You've got to give it. You know, you'll end up losing your hair because you'll be so stressed. Just do what you feel is right.
Yeah, and the other thing, if you are stuck, ask people. You don't have to follow it to the T.
No, yeah.
But just talking to somebody about it, your friends, your mum, whoever, just might help, and they might have a useful tip.
You'll be right. Whatever you do, you're right.
You're doing a good job.
That's all it is. You are right.
Into the camera.
You are right.
You're doing a good job.
I think you can beat yourself up. Just give yourself a break and don't Don't beat yourself up about things. If you don't want to breastfeed, don't breastfeed. If you try it and you don't like it, fine.
Yeah.
You know, don't compare your child to your mate's child, because every child is different. So trust your instincts and do what you think.
I would build up my arms a bit better and do back strengthening exercises. And yes, they will be the first bits of advice I would give myself. Otherwise, if you feel that something's right, go with it. If you don't, then you need to think about trying to change it.
Just go with it. Don't put any pressure on yourself. Take no notice of all the you can't do this, you can do this, you can't do that, because they change the rules all the time.
Yeah.
Just do what you think is best, and it will be the best. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. And it's gonna be really, really horrible to start with. But I promise you that they do become really fun, and when they smile at you, you love it. Is that all right?
And your vagina is ruined.
Vagina.